Hey, I'm Tim, and this is episode 3 of the MyFinder podcast. At MyFinder, we're developing AI assistive tech for the blind and visually impaired. You can download our app for free from the App Store. It uses AI to find and recognize objects, read text, or stream video direct to a volunteer in real time. The project was born at the University of Oxford. It's won competitions, Microsoft Imagine World Cup and Cambridge Entrepreneurs to name two. We're a growing startup now. Our aim is to help as many people as possible, spread awareness, and be at the forefront of assistive tech. Today, we're going to be talking with Kimberly. Kimberly is a TikTok influencer where she shares her dancing skills and provides advice centered around the BVI community. Kimberly enjoys some 34,600 followers, and you can visit her TikTok at Kimberlyann80. It's going to be a really good one today. We're going to be talking about parenting, relationships, being a mum while being BVI, and managing those things all together. We're going to be talking about dating as well and more, so keep watching. It's going to be a good one today. This was a really good one. I enjoyed recording this. I learned a lot, and it was really good talking to Kimberly. She was a fantastic guest, so I hope you enjoy it as well. Thanks. Right, so hello, Kimberly.
Hey,
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
You're over in America, aren't you? Whereabouts?
I'm from Texas, Austin, Texas, born and raised.
Um, so today we're going to be talking about parenting, relationships, and positivity in the BVI community. That's something we kind of settled on together because you were saying that your audience tends to ask you quite a lot of questions about parenting or relationships.
Yes, they do. As a blind person, they're very, very curious on how I live my life.
Is there anything specific they ask? Is there anything that you see happen they ask a lot of?
Yeah, they ask a lot of, how do you get around? How do you go to work? Who cooks for you? Who does this? And it's like I feel like they don't understand that even though you're visually impaired, you can do a lot of things on your own, minus the driving part. So it's pretty interesting.
Because working over in Texas, you're going to have to commute, aren't you? You're going to have to drive to wherever you're working.
Well, I don't live in the Austin area, which is the city part anymore, which is more convenient for people that are blind, visually impaired, because there are transportation services for us provided, like bus services. Being that I'm on the outskirts of Austin, I'm more in the countryside, so we don't have anything for me to help me get around. So I do have to rely a lot on my support system, my family, my friends. We have things called like Uber and Lyft that I can get on that can help as well, which is can be very expensive at times and frustrating.
So you have Uber,
Yeah.
in that, but you don't have public transport. You can't just get on the
We
bus.
don't have buses yet, and they are working on it to where they're trying to get it to become more city out here, which a lot of people are not happy with because it's been country for so long. We have one thing in the area that I'm living in called carts, which you do have to get approved for. If any type of disability, you can use them as a service to get you to point A, point B. But the problem with that is you have to walk to the station, and that we don't. It's so country. We don't have walking signs and things like that that's safe for us to get there.
It doesn't sound because so you're working full time
Yes.
while being a parent, while being a mum.
Yes.
So what's that like? Because I mean, you were saying being BVI, being blind or visually impaired doesn't mean that you can't do things, but that's still a hassle for anyone, surely.
Yes. I have a very strong mentality that, I mean, I've got myself in working because I don't want to disable myself and sit at home and become depressed or not in life that I should be enjoying it as. And I love it. I love working. I love coming home with my kids, and I feel more normal and that I don't have this visual impairment.
Yeah, so it's like it's a nice grounding to have, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I found that quite a lot. Everyone who I talk to, very rarely do you get people who aren't driven to do these
Yeah.
things, like their career. So that's definitely something, because I feel like one of the big benefits that we could do with doing podcasts like this is that if people have just been diagnosed and perhaps they're
Yes.
thinking it's because you've got to have a period of time where you're thinking, oh no, everything's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
Yes. Yeah. I've met a lot of people on TikTok that will reach out and say, hey, I just got diagnosed with this. I'm losing my sight. And how are you dealing with it? How do you keep moving forward? How are you still working? And it just, it hurts to hear them just like completely stop their life
Yeah.
because they can't handle it, or they have no coping skills. And it is hard to hear. So that's why I love doing my TikTok, because it's like making people more motivated. Hey, she's doing it, I can do it too.
You do hear about people who just come to a full stop. I suppose that's the natural reaction, though. That's the stages of grief, because you are
Yeah.
losing something, aren't you?
Yes. It might be harder being told an older age that you're losing your sight versus as a child, because I got diagnosed when I was 7. It wasn't like I had to stop working or stop this so suddenly. So I did have a lot more time to grieve and cope with it over the years that I aged.
That's really interesting. So you think that being told younger
I
is easier?
I do. I've met a lot of older people that have been told they're going blind and they just can't handle it, or they're having these suicidal thoughts, and it's just it's awful. It's awful. Yeah.
So would you like to quickly tell us a little bit about, before we go into parenting, relationships and positivity, which is what we want to get back onto, do you want to tell us just a little bit quick rundown of your condition, specifically for you, what that's been like? So you were diagnosed at 7.
Yes. That was, oh my goodness. It's a funny story because I can never see, it started off so weird. Like I couldn't see the TV. And so I would sit up really close. And then my mom would be like, Kimberly, you can't sit close to the TV. Your vision's going to get bad. It's going to hurt your eyes. But I would tell her, Mom, I can't see it though. When I sit far back, I can't see it. And she just thought, okay, well, let's go get your eyes checked. And it turned out just being like glasses. Oh, here, glasses will correct it. But then I would still bump into things, trip on things. And I would clean my room and she'd watch me and she'd say, Kimberly, you missed something. And I'm like, where? And she's like, it's right there in front of you. And I'm just like, I don't see it. Then it turned into one day, it was like Halloween, and me and my cousins were out and trick-or-treating. And at that time I had more sight at night. And then one moment in that nighttime frame, I ran straight into a street pole. And my mom was like, Kimberly, you didn't see that? And I was like, Mom, I can't see anything anymore. And that was when it was like a reality check that she was like, what's going on with her? So when we went to the eye doctor, they sent me to a specialist in Austin. And then this specialist was like, yeah, looks like she has retinitis pigmentosa. And she's gonna go fully blind and in her 30s. And so that was heartbreaking to hear at 7 that you're gonna go blind. And for my mom, it was awful.
They told you that straight away. They gave you like an age.
Yeah, they gave me an age, which is so fascinating to me because I have met a lot of people with retinitis pigmentosa all over the world, and their doctors say something totally different. Their doctors will say, oh, well, you can wake up blind one day, or, oh, you'll lose it at the age 21. I have met people all over the world where they have lost their sight at 15. They've lost their sight in their 20s. They have some vision in their 40s. And so it's so different. Everybody's so different.
When you went to the opticians, or ophthalmologists, I suppose it would have been, would it? What they just gave you a standard eye test? They didn't look deeper into it then? They didn't take any images of your eyes or anything like that? No.
Yeah, the first doctor that I went to, it was more of that near farsighted type thing where glasses would just correct to make things bigger. things like that. But it was never anything deeper
Mm.
until we went back, and then they were like, okay, if she can't see at night, then she needs to go see a specialist to see what's going on. Yeah.
Because some of these conditions are hereditary, right?
Yeah, my eye disease is genetic. I am the first in my family to have it, and the doctors can't tell me how I got it because they haven't discovered all the genes yet.
But with your
And
kids, do you need to? So if your kids are sitting in front of the TV and they're moving close, then immediately you're gonna.
oh yeah, I am always checking on my kids as far as when they're sitting really close to the TV. I'll ask them, "Hey, can you not see it? When you sit back, can you not see it?" Or every day, I'm like, "Hey, like when we're out at night, can you see at night?" I'm constantly checking on them. I just want to make sure that if they do end up having it, that I want to catch it early.
Yeah, and that's something you advise, is it? Is that something that's
Yes.
typically? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they're okay. They're okay at now, though, aren't they? So, how many kids do you have? You have two kids?
I have 3 boys.
Three boys.
Yes.
And I saw on your TikTok you shared some of their drawings.
Yes. My youngest one loves to draw.
What is it like for you being a BVI parent? So, parent, blind and visually impaired parent.
Uh, it's hard. And I say this because there are times where my kids would want to go to the park, or my kids want to go to the store, or do something outside the house. And if my fiance is at work, or if I have nobody able to come get us, then we're stuck here. We're stuck at home. We can't get out and do anything. And then, you can't always pay for Uber. That gets pricey at
Yeah.
times. So yeah, it can be a challenge. There has been times where my kids would get sick at school, and then school's calling me, "Hey, you got to come pick up your kid." And it's like, I can't. I can't just get in my car and go. And that's the struggle as a parent. Another one is my kids will want to have friends over, or the parents, and they want to hang out, they want to do play dates, and then I get in my mind of, what if one day, like with the more vision that I'm losing, the parents not going to trust me with their kid because I can't see, because I don't know what goes in their head. So I always worry of just like the scenarios of what the parents will think of me taking care of their kid as a blind person. So I always worry. So it can be a struggle.
But have you managed to have kids over? Have you managed to build that trust?
I have been able to build that trust with a lot of kids' parents, and it can be hard sometimes because the parents will want to meet up or hang out, and I have to remind them of constantly, "Hey, I can't drive," or, "Hey, I can't see," and it's hard, like especially like when recently my middle child got invited to a birthday party at the movie theater, and it was like the mother's attending, and I couldn't take him because I can't see in the movie theaters. And the last thing I want is my kid to have to walk me, guide me, watch over me, or help me when I want him to enjoy being with his friends.
I see.
Yeah. So it's hard.
You are able to build a support network. It just gets more difficult with the traveling. It sounds like the traveling's an issue.
The traveling's a big one for me. It is.
But you have
And
to
then
be able to reach out to other parents and develop a support network of some kind, developing trust.
yes. Yeah, I've met a lot of people that they don't mind, like, "Oh, it's okay," or, "Hey, maybe one day I'll come get you and we'll go somewhere." I've learned over the years that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay. Like, you have people that are okay with it, and they're telling you, "Hey, I'll come get you," or, "Hey, it's okay, we'll come to you." Like, there's no need to feel this way. There's no need to have these burdens or embarrassment. Like, hey, it's fine. It's not a big deal. And I've learned that. It just took some time.
Yeah. I want to expand on that point you're making of, you want to make sure the kids have their freedom and they're being kids,
Yeah.
but are not taking care, not feeling like they need to take care of their mum so
Yeah.
much. But
Yes. It's so funny because I always told myself that I refuse to have my kids do everything for me or feel like they lost out on their childhood because they're too busy taking care of me. And I just didn't want that for them. I still wanted them to be kids and live their life and not have to grow up so quickly. But I've learned to balance it. So I do teach my kids, hey, I can't see, and in time I will lose all of my sight. And there's going to be certain things that you're going to have to do differently, like to help me. And just teaching them that has helped them mature. They get awards at their school for being the most helpful kid. And it's amazing to, I have adults that compliment me on, oh my God, your kid does so much, or oh my God, why do they help you so much? And then I tell them, oh, I'm legally blind. And they're like, oh, that makes so much sense. But then they're still enjoying, they're still having fun. They're still being kids. And it's just, I like to see both of the structure with them. It's nice.
It sounds like a really healthy balance that you
Yeah.
managed to strike. And I think a lot of other people, a lot of other blind parents would want to do the same.
Yes.
So that's
definitely
where the value is.
Oh yeah.
Would you say that's a very common concern then? That you
I do. I have met some people that they worry. They don't want their kids to feel like, oh, I gotta go do this for my mom or dad. And it does hurt them. It is heartbreaking for some people. But I think as long as you just find that balance, it'll be okay. And then you're teaching them.
I think so too.
A good trait as a good adult one day.
So that's one difficult thing about raising kids as someone who's blind or visually impaired.
Yeah.
And also making sure that you can get around and get them around to have the full experience that you want them to. But is there anything else that's difficult about raising kids?
Yes. When it comes to homework, and today everything's on electronics, like everything's on laptops, everything's on computers now. And that is one area that I just can't see on computers or laptops. And they bring Chromebooks from the school, so the school laptops don't have all the settings set for the visually impaired. So it can be a struggle. And I feel bad, or sometimes my kids will like bring their homework paper to me like, Mom, what does it say? And I'm just like, oh my goodness, okay, I gotta get my magnifying glass, I gotta get all these things out just to read one word. And it's like so time consuming for me, but it's a challenge, but I like it. I don't mind it.
Doing homework. So the kids' laptops they're locked down, are they? You can't get in and access any accessibility options or anything like that.
I know, like my oldest actually is the one that will help me. So he's learned to manage how to zoom in on that screen. It's a touch screen. Okay. So we figured that, and then there are certain sections of the page, like the homework pages on there, where you can actually press a button and it talks to you. But some of the pages it won't. Some of the pages you can't zoom in on, and some of the pages it won't talk to you. So it's really weird how that is.
And can the school not do anything about that? Because it's important for the parents to look over the kids' homework. So I would have thought the school would have
be a little bit more helpful.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Maybe that's something people should be prepared to get on then. when they're raising kids, they need to get on with the school to make sure that the kids developing properly, and learning properly as well. So how do you stay involved in your children's lives? Because you were looking at drawings on your TikTok. I could see that. Yes. But what else do you do to stay involved around the house if they're at home with you, or any activities that you find it easy to do?
Yes, we play a lot of board games. So they love checkers. And so I have the big jumbo checkers. Yeah. And they love Jenga, which the size of the Jenga blocks doesn't matter because it's all feel for me. So I just fill the blocks and I can feel and maneuver the Jenga without having any struggles or difficulties. Mm-hmm. They love playing Connect 4, which that one can be a struggle because the colors and I can't see like the holes, and it's a big challenge for me. But we have this huge light that I have over the Connect 4 so that the lighting's better for me to see. So there's like a lot of ways that I try to do as much as I can with them, but I have to work around it with my vision.
And what
And
about
they're great.
when they're a little bit older? What about getting one of those giant decks of playing cards? We had a guest on called Reese who used to carry around with him a giant deck of playing
Oh
cards.
my gosh. I'm going to have to look into that. I didn't even know that existed.
No,
That is
apparently,
so cool.
apparently it does. Apparently it
Nice.
does.
I love that.
So you play games with them and you adapt to the games for them
Yes.
as well. That's
Yes.
how you keep engaged. What about if they have any hobbies that they want to show you about? Like if they want to show you anything they've done. I mean, you can see their drawings.
Yes. The drawings. So they have to, my youngest, he's the artist one. And he wants, when he wants me to see his drawings, there's some times where he'll like draw small, or he'll use just pen or pencil, and I can't see anything. And I'll tell him, I said, son, I can't see that. I can't see it. You have to use markers, remember, or you have to make the picture bigger so I can see it. And then, or sometimes he'll like, well, does this help? And he'll like get like a magnifying glass, or he'll get a flashlight. I have a flashlight that has, or a magnifying glass that has a flashlight on it. So he'll like use that on the paper so I can see it. And sometimes I can't, like if it's pencil, it's nothing. I can't see the pencil. So he's definitely learned to color with dark colors, so that I can see. Yes. So he's learned that, okay, mom can't see the pencil or pen or a red pen or this or color pencils. So I'm going to use markers and jumbo markers, and it's going to be big and dark. And my middle child, he's into music. So he's the one that loves to dance, which we have in common.
Yeah.
So we both, together, that's one of our things that we do together is we will learn dances together. He loves to play instruments, so he is in guitar classes, but I play guitar, so that's one thing that we have in common as well. So we're learning together. It's amazing. I love it.
But listening to him playing,
Yes.
That's not an issue. You get the full experience pretty much. Relationships. I was going to ask you about, because you're living with your boyfriend now, are you?
Yes. I have gotten questions on what is it like dating as a blind person or visually impaired. That I can say was very challenging. It was a bit challenging in the dating world, as a blind person. I felt like if I got asked on a date, I couldn't drive myself there to meet you at this restaurant. And then it was that weird just feeling of, well, I don't want to ask them to come get me because that's kind of weird. You don't really know the person. And so it was a lot to deal with. Or sometimes it was when we would go like to a restaurant, I couldn't see in the restaurant because the lighting can be dim sometimes. And then I have the night blindness. I can't see at all. And so then it was like, how am I going to get this person to understand how I see without it being weird or awkward or scare them away? Because there are people that don't know how to handle that, or just don't feel like, oh, this may not be for me. It had its challenges for sure.
But you've obviously strike gold and got someone good.
He's learning and he's growing with me, and he wants to learn, versus the people that I have met, they didn't want to learn about it. And I need someone that wants to learn about it so that we're on the same page, and I know that you're going to be here with me, standing by my side.
And I hear quite a lot that communication's really important in that.
It's very important. But he's learned so much, and he finds ways to make it easier for me in my house. So he'll put up lights, like example, when I'm cooking, I can't see, even though the light is on in the kitchen, I still can't see on the countertops because the cabinets make that shadow, and then I can't see what I'm doing or what I'm cooking. Like and the lights can be so dim over the stove and I still can't see. So he has put extra lights under the cabinets and I can just press it and it turns on bright over the countertops. So he's like found ways to make it easier for me. He's also seen me struggle like searching for the light switches because the light switches they blend in with the wall, so I can't. So I'm like feeling for the light switch. So he hasn't installed them yet, but he bought these lights where they're like the censored lights. So I can just walk in a hallway and it turns on by itself. And so it's nice to have someone actually caring, hey, how can I make it easier for her?
But what about for blind women who want to, and men I suppose, who want to start dating? They must, if they're anxious, how am I going to be received? Is it a struggle then? It takes a while to find the right kind of person.
It does. And my best advice is to be patient. I also feel like I've learned actually through TikTok on the Blind Talk, there has been a lot of people that have asked this question, and it was, do you let them know that you have a visual impairment the first conversation that you have or the first date? And there has some people that didn't tell them. And there has been some people that did tell that person, hey, by the way, just so you know, I'm legally blind. And so I've noticed that has been a big debate on where you stand in that area. And me personally, I feel like you should let that person know, hey, I have a visual impairment, just to be direct and upfront of, this is my life. Since we're going on a date, I mean, you're dating people to date and grow and build the foundation to one day become in marriage, right? And if they can't handle it on their first date, and if they don't know, you know, you just don't want to put yourself in situations that you don't want to be in. And I feel like you just have to be honest and upfront on, you know, on that first time that you meet somebody. Some people have, thank you, feel they get a little nervous of mentioning it because they don't know how they're going to react to it. And I know I have been there. I was once there that I didn't know how to say, hey, by the way, I can't see. And then I did that before. And then they're like, what do you mean you can't see? Just wear glasses. Or what do you mean? Oh, they'll laugh like, hey, by the way, I can't drive to the place that you want me to meet you. But what do you mean you can't drive? And they'll put like the laughing emojis. Like, you're this age, like you don't have your license. And then you got it. Then at that point, like, well, I'm actually legally blind. And then it's like, what? So you can't. And then it's this whole weird conversation after that.
You find it weird.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh my goodness. So I feel like now I've learned that, hey, when I meet somebody that was at the time when I was dating, if they're interested, that was the first thing I said was, one of the questions that I would say, well, what's interesting about I want to know, let's give one interesting thing about each other. And mine would be, hey, I'm legally blind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you initiate that, do you? That's like, you say that's a good way of breaking the ice. This sounds a lot like online dating.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I did that. I think in person with my cane, it can be intimidating. Like, I don't know if it's intimidating or if it's just you're not really gonna attract somebody when you have a blind stick in your hand.
There's girls on TikTok who will definitely try and say the opposite. They're filming themselves trying to look really attractive with their cane. I see that quite a lot, actually.
Yes, and I think it's amazing. I didn't have confidence until I got on TikTok and seeing all the other people that were so comfortable with themselves and so comfortable with their blindness, and it made me more comfortable with my blindness.
So online dating, being upfront, using it as an icebreaker, and then finding someone who can actually adapt and be willing to listen, and communication is key. Yes,
definitely.
So, Kimberly, if there's anything you could say to anyone who's losing their sight or has lost it recently, what would it be?
I would tell them that it's going to be okay, and that it's not the end of the world, that you can still live your life the best that you can. I would definitely not care about like the worries and the fears that we end up creating in our minds. And I just don't want people to feel trapped in that area. And I just want people to continue to stay free.
Okay, so that was Kimberly. I feel she is a great inspiration, particularly to young men or women who are concerned about becoming a BVI parent. If you do want to see more of Kimberly, visit her TikTok at Kimberlyann80. If you're interested in looking at our app, please do. You can also visit our website to get more information. So it's MyFinder on the App Store, or our website is myfinder.com with 2 R's. We are updating our website, so do keep an eye on the description below where I will link the latest version of our site. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing you all with our next guest. Bye.